Nate and I, we just made it to our halfway point to this one saddle that we plan to cross. And that saddle is like half of the elevation. So since we're halfway to that saddle, we're 1/4 in terms of elevation gain to our final destination. But the weather's cool and we're just pacing ourselves, so we're just gonna snack a little bit, get some food in our stomachs, get some energy, and just take our time. There's really no point to rush. So 7 days worth of gear, more like 7 days worth of food. But trying to finish this guy out today so that I have one less bag to worry about.
This is 2 tortillas with peanut butter inside.
How many calories is that?
There's like 700 between these two.
Total?
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Like 350 each.
For how small it is?
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. 350 calories, and it probably weighs like nothing.
Weighs very little. My goal was to pack like 2,900 for each day of the trip.
This deer hunt has proven to be very, very hard. There's a doe eating like 20 yards away. We were casually walking up our trail, and I looked right there. I was like, there's no way that's a deer. Get behind that tree. I'm like, that is a deer. Just casually feeding away.
16 yards.
16 yards. You can hear like ripping the grass. Is there another one? Oh no, that's just him or her. We started at the bottom of the valley right at first light, and we are almost to the top of this mountain, and we're up to where the sun is peaking. So it's getting a little warm out, so gonna have to really pace ourselves. We've been doing a pretty decent pace and we've been doing good time, but that's in the shade, in the cool weather. With the sun now, we'll see. We still have a lot of elevation to go, but once we get done with elevation, it's nothing but downhill or glassing down, so we'll make it happen. We're already to the halfway point. I don't know what time it is, but you guys will see the time right here because power of editing. We are almost done with stage 1 of our trek. So the plan on X is we have 3 stages, 3 main stages. The first stage, which we are about to complete, is 2,500 vertical feet right off the bat. The peak is just right up here, and so we're almost done with stage 1. Stage 2 is once we peak this peak, then we just walk the ridge line onto another peak. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
the first stage is like 3,100.
Okay, my mistake. Stage 1 is 3,100 feet, vertical feet, not 2,500. And then stage 3, what is it?
It's like basically 1,000 feet vertical with maybe 1,000 feet descending, of kind of following the ridge.
My mistake. So stage 2 is once we peak, it's just kind of like up and down the spine of these ridges. So we're gonna lose about 1,000 feet, but we're also gonna gain about 1,000 feet. So net gain, it's basically 0, but just because you're following the ridges, you're going like this. And then we're eventually going to get to our spot, and then we're just gonna drop down. Stage 3, we're gonna drop down into the basin that we want to camp, at least we plan to camp, and then that's where we're gonna hunt. But right now we made it to the top. Nate's dealing with some the start of some hot spots on his feet. My pant is sagging, and here's a tip for you if you have issues with sagging pants. So instead of wearing a belt or suspenders, which I don't like either one, I just take a little piece of paracord, just like this. And all I do is I just take this paracord and loop it through the 2 front loops of my belt loop on my pant. And then I just simply tie a knot together, and that'll cinch the waist of my pant. That way you don't have an entire belt around your waist, and when you cinch the hip belt of your pack, like that belt can create some hot spots. So something simple like paracord like this will go a long way. But here's also a tip though. We didn't just randomly pack. Like Nate and I, throughout like the last month, like we've been sharing. We made one Google Docs or Google Sheets slide. I put all of my gear on the top slide, and Nate put all of his gear on the bottom slide so that we both can see what we're packing. And so when we came out here, I was like, Nate, I didn't bring it, but I saw you were gonna bring it. And he's like, yep, I got it. Vice versa. So if you have a partner and you want to shave as much gear as possible to save weight, I'd highly recommend starting a Google spreadsheet so that you and your buddy or buddies can see what you guys are packing, so that you don't get to the trailhead and be like, I thought you were bringing that. So
like a bear tag.
Don't remind me, Nate. Yeah, this is where it started from. Last year when we were on our high buck hunt, I didn't have a bear tag, Nate didn't have a bear tag, Steve didn't have a bear tag. We were all like, we are never coming into a high country deer hunt ever again without someone having this pivotal piece of gear. So this year, Nate's got 2 bear tags, I've got 1 bear tag, we both got deer tags, and I want to say that we have all our gear figured out. So that's enough talking. We got to get back on the trail and enter stage 2. See that squirrel? You can go. I'm just filming that squirrel.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so it's late morning, I think. I haven't checked the time. 10:15, right on. So Nate and I, we just started stage 2. The trail goes on the backside of this mountain, and we decided to hop over this little saddle and glass into this little basin, and this basin just looks really good. So instead of just going straight to our final destination, we figured we'd stop at each little basin and just take some time and glass into each basin, because there's a lot of deer sign up here, and we've already seen deer when we were hiking up. So like these more secluded basins, they've got to hold something. A lot of tough country to glass, a lot of burn country that it just makes picking out deer in those meadows a little bit harder. And we have a big old mountain face that we can also glass, but that's a little bit farther out. So we're really gonna have to take our time and really just pick apart these burn countries, or these patches of timber and these patches of burn. So that's what we're doing, and we'll see if we can glass up a bedded deer. I thought I just spotted the first deer in this basin, but the more I was staring at it, it never moved. And unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I think it might just be a rock with a shadow, but I was pretty convinced at first I spotted the first deer in this basin, but it's not a deer. I don't think you can fault me for thinking it's a deer.
Even a lot bigger than that thing.
Oh, really?
And those things are just huge.
These are big.
Yeah. The 18s would be nice to have right now. Glass with 2 eyes instead of 1 eye with a spotter. I didn't know if I wanted to lug the extra 40 ounces.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Those are already like 38.
Got some bone broth, some Lono Life chicken bone broth.
We haven't seen anything on this little basin, so we're just perched up on this little vantage point on some rocks, and since we're having a yard sale and all the food's out, I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity to boil up some water and drink some bone broth. I think a lot of the sodium we sweated out coming up, so the bone broth is gonna refuel that sweat. The only problem with where we're at right now, because we plan to just camp right over on this little saddle over here, is we just don't know of any water sources. Well, we do know of one, but it's like way down into the basin, and that's kind of where we're expecting deer to come out. So it's like you kind of don't want to go down there and blow out the area, especially if you haven't hunted during prime time where deer are up and feeding. So we decided to drop back from our glassing knob onto this flat that we walked past earlier to set up camp, and there's 3 blue grouse chilling next to us. There's one hen standing like 7 yards away, just looking at us. There's Nate's tent. He's gonna sleep in his own. Here's mine. My first night in this thing was not a pleasant experience. Fortunately, I don't think there's any mosquitoes up here, so we should be all right, because we're getting down to the 20s at night. And so this is the Seek Outside, I forgot which one this one's, but this is the Seek Outside 1-person tent. This is the Cuban fiber. Oh yeah, right there. Seek Outside Silex. This is the Cuban fiber version, so the lighter version, but the more expensive version. Just got them all staked out on all 6 sides, because when you're in the high country, you just never know when it decides to go from calm, like it is right now, to just howling wind and hail and snow and rain. So I figured I just stake out all the staking out points. But then there's the inside. I got my Seek Outside ground tarp, got my Thermarest X-Therm for my sleeping pad, and then got my hike and bike 15-degree Aeolus bag. And then later on, when I'm done glassing, I'll come and put my stuff in here as well. But for now, we just this is a zipperless shelter. Having no zippers and just this bungee here, it saves a lot of weight. I guess that's how they designed it, so props to Seek for being able to figure that out. But I guess this stake right here, I could have pulled it out a little bit further. In fact, I'm actually going to do just that. There we go. I just fixed it. Now the shelter looks a little bit more like how it's designed. So I'm gonna sleep with my head here, and my leg's gonna go this way because I'm on an angle. Whenever you sleep, always make sure your head's above your feet, or else you're gonna have a pretty miserable night of sleep. So now that we got our shelters all set, we might just go back to our glassing knob and glass that basin again. We've been just sitting on this knob all day. It's evening. I just spotted the first deer in this basin. I saw him right where the shadow is, and then went back to go grab this camera, and it disappeared back into the trees, I think. But there's a deer in here. I don't know if it was a buck or a doe. Didn't look all too big, so it could just be a doe, but the point is, we found a deer. I just gotta relocate it. I'm not exactly sure where I saw it. What are the thoughts at the end of day 1, Smong?
I can't believe how well this thing is working.
I know.
It's like never worked this well before.
So it's going.
That happened quick.
Glassed until last light, and That doe never reappeared, or that deer never reappeared, so we have no idea where that deer went. So we're back at the tents. We're gonna eat some dinner. Tonight, I'm eating the Peak Refuel Bison Ranch Mashers. Never had this before, so I'm pretty stoked. Both Nate and myself were pretty hungry, so this should hit the spot. The goal for tomorrow is in the morning we're gonna go back to that same knob and just glass that same hillside, and if we see something worth going after, then we'll go after it. If not, then pack up camp and continue along on stage 2. We're pretty cold. The wind chill is killer, so we're supposed to get down to like 20 degrees tonight, and I think that might actually be true because my toes are kind of frozen and my fingers are kind of frozen. So we're gonna get to eating and hit the sack, rest up, because we got a long trek ahead of ourselves tomorrow morning. Went down to our glassing knob just right over here this morning to glass this basin this way, and same results, I guess. Nothing. Just saw another grouse this morning, no deer. I really thought we were gonna see at least like one deer just out feeding along these open grass chutes along or across on that other mountain, but nothing. This hunt's been relatively slow, but as Nate and I were just talking about, everything can change in a split second, so just got to keep that at the back of your minds.
This is sponsored by Yeti, Eagle,
And Toyota.
and Toyota.
We just made it down to this little meadow down here. Camp is on the top of that saddle. We dropped down like 500 feet. This is running water, and if there was a deer like right here, there's no way we would see it from our glassing knob. So it just goes to show there's so much ground that you can't glass in. Yeah, we're gonna get some water. Orange juice is now Wilderness Athlete. This stuff is supposed to be energy and focus. Never tried it before. Nate just gave me a bunch. So this is like my, like energy drink or sweet drink. And then this Nalgene right here, 48 ounces, is for my water.
And what do you think?
I feel like I put too much water.
Maybe.
Feels a little diluted. But
I
it
think
has a
how
little.
many ounces is that thing?
This is 16.
No, that's 32.
What? Oh, that explains everything. I thought it was 16. I was like, wait. Okay, that's why it's a little diluted, but I guess I'll need it. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to this spot down here. And this is one of those places where you just don't want to leave. And you can't really explain just how beautiful it is, because the feeling that it gives you is just insane. I can't describe the feeling, but hopefully just a little bit of videos and pictures can show you kind of what I'm trying to describe. Feels good, huh? Back to camp. Everything looks dry. How far do we have, Nate?
Straight line is like 2 miles, but I don't think we're walking any sort of straight line.
Okay.
So, I'm
So
not sure.
3.5 to 4. Okay, as the crow flies, 2 miles, but we can't do as the crow flies hiking. So we're gonna be up and down and zigzagging. So maybe 3.5 to 4 miles to go to get into the next basin. And hopefully that will be the basin. Unbelievable. All right, we made it to the top. We're gonna have to skid along this cliff right here to get back into that basin. Dude. Oh my goodness. How do we even get down there? What? How do we even get down there? I think we can get down maybe over here. That's steep. Oh. How do we get back out? Maybe right here. We'll have to go look. We just got onto the peak to glass into this basin. Looks insane. We're standing on a bunch of cliffs, so we have to find a way to get in there. There's water down there. I think that's the pond we're looking at. Right there. Yeah. Right side? Careful. Just got camp all set up, so here's my tent. There's Nate's tent. We're surrounded by a bunch of trees and deadfall right here, and the reason why we chose this campsite is because up here, if any of these cliffs or rocks decide to start rolling,
hopefully we have enough of a defensive line of these trees to stop those boulders from rolling all the way and crushing us. So that's why we chose a spot with all this deadfall here that will hopefully protect us if the boulders decide to roll down off that cliff.
You have to be really stupid to open this big one. I don't think I've ever met anybody that's opened that one before. No, nobody's that stupid. No, nobody. Definitely nobody. We just dropped down like 50 yards from camp. And we're just going to glass these finger ridges that are closest to us. The goal is throughout the next couple days, we'll just keep working our way farther and farther into the basin, but we're gonna glass these finger ridges that are closest to us first. It's about to be prime time, so we're gonna stop talking here and put the glass to use. We just got set up, and we just had a deer blowing at us. It's shaded on this side, so the wind is blowing down the valley, which is not good, but we really have no choice. That deer wasn't far. Just right here. There's deer in the area. That's not how we wanted to have it happen at first, but sometimes it's just out of your control. I just spotted a tank of a black bear, but I was glassing him in the bino. He was feeding around, and then I pulled my eyes off the binos to tell Nate, and then I just lost visual of this bear. I don't know if he dipped over a little divot or if I'm just not glassing the right spot again, but it's a tank of a bear. Like, that's definitely up there in terms of biggest bears I've ever seen, but it's just a jet black. I don't know how I'm not picking him out if he's feeding in the open. So I'm just gonna assume that he just dipped over behind a little divot, because when I saw him, he was feeding on this little ridge. And pulled my eyes off, told Nate, went back to find him, and he's just gone.
It's pretty dark now. Can't last, so we decided to head back to camp. I was just telling Nate, I'm starting to feel like a fraud. Everything I said, every time I say I see something, it's like Nate doesn't see it because the animal is gone by the time Nate gets there. And two, I can't get it on footage. Yesterday, I said I saw a deer, which I did. But then by the time Nate got there, the deer was gone. And just earlier, spotted a big old tank of a jet black bear. Just feeding away on, I'm assuming, these berry bushes. I don't know what it was eating, but I clearly saw when I was looking through the binos, I saw its rump, which I originally thought was a moose. And I looked past the tree where the tree was covering like its shoulder. And I looked at the front and I just saw his head just eating, grubbing on bushes. And the thing about this spot is that mountainside looks so similar, because in the binos, you're looking at one particular spot. But as soon as you throw your eyes off and you're looking clear eye, like all you see is just a bunch of burned trees and everywhere looks the same. And so I had trouble trying to figure out where I was looking in the binos with a clear eye. And I don't know, by the time I think I figured out where I did see the bear, it was gone. So we're just gonna eat dinner and then be up at first light, glass again, and hopefully this time I can be a better cameraman because I have been failing at that. Just got some water boiling, eating venison country casserole by Peak Refuel, one of the Chad Mendez signature meals. And Nate's having the good old tried and true Peak Refuel chicken Alfredo. We'll be eating a decent dinner. The goal tomorrow is eat some deer meat or some bear meat. That's wishful thinking. All it takes is glassing around and
For 2 full days of not glassing up a deer well, I mean, I guess you glassed up that one, but more or less 2 days of not really glassing a deer, I'm extremely optimistic.
yeah. Because Nate and I, we've hunted enough to know that it can happen. It can happen anytime.
Like
You
the
never
great
know.
man says, success is when luck and persistence intersect.
Yep.
And we're putting in the persistence part.
Like I was telling Nate, man, I was like, we've been glassing for, at this point, I don't even know how many hours we've been sitting behind the glass, but like, all it takes is 2 seconds to be like, Nate, I got a buck, or Simone, I got a buck. That's all it takes, you know? So we're at the end of day 2. Tomorrow's day
Nate,
3.
I got a bear. Never mind. I can't find it anymore.
Nate is rubbing salt in the wound right now. I'm just kidding. But I guess the point is, I guess I am seeing stuff. It's not like we're completely like not seeing
And
anything.
we heard that deer blow.
Yeah, and then we had a deer. That one.
That's
see?
the best evidence I have.
Yeah. We heard a deer blow earlier when we just got to our glassing now. So we know there's animals in the areas. Like I said, this is big country, and just trying to pick them out is just really, really hard because we're also dealing with what I believe is really low deer densities. So you combine low deer densities with vast country, and not just vast country, but super like textured country with all this burn and deadfall. It's hard to pick out an ant in a haystack. Either way, we're going to fuel up and hit it hard again tomorrow. I think we are in the basin. If we're going to kill a deer, I think this is the basin. If we're going to kill a bear, this is the basin. So we're not done just yet. You guys are watching us through our grinding process, and hopefully at the end of it, it pays off. What the?
Can you explain to me where he's at?
What?
Can you explain to me?
Yeah. He's in, if you look across, in that, there's almost like that red patch that comes down from those 2 white shoots.
Yeah.
He's in that patch. He sticks out like a sore thumb. Throw your binos up, you'll see him. You see what I'm talking about? Do you see him? You do see him?
He's on the right border.
Yeah, like right next to a bunch of trees. Nate, I'm no longer fraudulent. Oh, that thing's a beast, dude. Oh my goodness. He's in such a killable spot, too. He's got a hump like a grizzly. Oh my goodness. Wow. Folks, I am no longer a liar. This morning I relocated what I believe is that same bear that I spotted last night. Last night I spotted him on the ridge that's closer to us, like 1,500 yards. And then he's now on the divot and on the hillside across from that ridge where I originally spotted him. And this bear is just grubbing away. And he's in one of the most killable spots out of this entire basin. I'm just so happy that I relocated him and like actually have a decent look at how big this bear is, and he's just as big as I thought when I saw him last night. He's got a hump like a grizzly bear. You don't see many black bears that have a hump like a grizzly. And we've been glassing hard this morning, and again, just can't turn up any deer, but we turned up a bear and we turned up something we can at least shoot, so I'm pretty happy about that. Aside from walking up on those deer, those does, and, you know, just driving past deer, we've glassed up one deer, which I don't even know if it's a buck or a doe. I have a feeling it's a doe. And we've glassed up this bear. So in however many hours of glassing, we've seen one deer and one bear. So I hope you guys can imagine like the stoke level I am to be just looking at something that I can shoot. I hope he pops onto the greens a little bit better so I can just have a broadside view at him. He's kind of clumped up in a ball right now. I guess the good part is if we do end up on that side, we can glass back on this side. Mm-hmm. Dude, Nate, I don't get to say this very often, but I think this is a legit 300 pounder.
Really?
Yeah. It's... Granted, I've never shot a 300 pounder or been by 300 pounder, but if I had to guess, like, this is it.
Alright guys, well after hours and hours, I finally relocated my bear. Simon relocated his bear that he briefly saw last night then lost. He's a big one. He's a killable spot. And Simon said that picking one animal to come out of here with, he'd be happy with a bear. So we may just have a stalk on our hands today, which gets me so amped because it's been 3 days now of 0 animals from me.
What do you think of him?
Well, I wasn't too concerned about the bear last night or this morning. I just had my heart set on a deer, so I kept glassing and let Samong look at the bear. And Samong's like, dude, you just gotta look at it. So I was like, okay, I'll look at the bear. And this thing is no joke. It's hands down the biggest bear I've ever seen.
I hope you understand why it was eating me alive yesterday. Just to be able not to prove that bear of how big it was.
Yeah, this thing is just... Holy crap, dude.
This is why I call it Lamper's bear.
A part of his body right now is behind 2 trees, and you can still see a third.
That's what I saw yesterday.
Look at this. Look at, just zoom in right here on this.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like a black tank.
Dude, we're putting in work.
Dude, good job on the spot.
They stand out a lot better than a deer.
Dude, he's got like a tan muzzle.
He's old. He's old. He's an old bear. The best part is, guys, camp is right there. We got a waiting game ahead of ourselves and then find our way across.
sun is just coming over. That bear is still just grubbing away in that patch. So Nate and I figured, let's just go right now. And hopefully it doesn't take us any longer than an hour 30. 2 hours at the max. There's a lot of blowdown. And we're going to have to go down our ridge and up the other mountain where that bear's on. But on that mountain that bear's on, there's a bunch of little finger ridges that kind of roll over like this. He's on like the 4th or 5th or 6th one over. And we're trying to get to the one across from him and shoot him across. But that's only if he's still in that patch when we get over there. So we're just getting our packs ready because this might be an all-day grind. So just getting the rifle ready, making sure the scope's good to go, everything's good to go. Ammo in the magazine ready to just rack a shell in or round in. Smoke. Right there. He's right across. Yep, right across. Let's go right up here and get set. Did you see him? Just spotted him. He's at 170 yards right across. There he is. There he is. Oh, he's right there. Don't forget your ear protection. 1 second. again. Did I hit him? Oh, here he comes. He's coming towards us.
Did I miss him?
Here he is. You had to have hit him, right? I have no bullets on me. Me neither. Here, me. Dude. What the? Dude. Dude, there's no way. There's gotta be no way I missed that. Like 190 yards, quartering away, put it right behind him. And he just ran like nothing happened. It's still further. What? I'm on 0. Should I have just not shot him again?
No, because we know he hit him now.
Like he was running towards me.
This was 80 yards away, dude. If you felt like you were on him there, you had to have hit him twice.
Mate, he didn't even look like her, but he could just be so big that like he
That's
just
exactly right.
Oh, fingers crossed.
He came straight at us.
He had no idea what hit him.
I like started getting.
You were like, he's coming towards us, and I was like, where?
I couldn't see him, and then he just came barreling out of these trees.
Come
straight
barely.
at
I was
us.
like, dude, I gotta get off. I gotta.
Nate and I were both sure that that first shot was a money shot, but the thing that threw me off was when he was running, he just seemed like I didn't hit him. That's why I put 2 follow-up shots, because he ran towards us. I shot him at 170. That's my first shot. And in the footage, we can just see smoke on the right side, which 170 yards, that's dead on. I shot him when he was running across this hillside, maybe like at 90 yards. And third shot, I put it through the bush like 66 yards. But these burns, it's very confusing. So Nate's gonna stay back right here, and I'm gonna walk over to try to stand exactly where the bear was when I shot him. And then from there, hopefully we find him eventually. So I'm gonna take the rifle, and Nate's gonna sit here and just kind of guide me. So I'm gonna turn on my GoPro. You guys are gonna stay with Nate.
Okay.
Oh, he's getting close.
Alright, well, Samong found where the bear initially got hit. And so now I'm going to make my way over to him.
I'm gonna go check down there just in case.
So here's the white log.
Yeah, I'll just way down there.
Yep, here's this tree. So he's like right here.
I got blood.
You got blood?
Yeah. At least, well, never mind. I don't think it's blood.
Berries.
Berries.
I was thinking about that earlier.
Really? No blood? No blood at all. He went like this, did he? This way, right? It's 11 o'clock. Right around 2 hours since I shot that bear. And we don't have him. Shot him just right on this ridge on the backside. And we last saw him side hilling over like this after I took my third shot. No blood. That bear's left no sign of any trail whatsoever. No blood trail, no tracks, no nothing. So we're really just kind of gritting. We don't really have a sense of direction that he went, besides we just saw him last come in like this. And I watched the footage back, and I think I hit him a little bit far back. Like, not insanely far back, but far back enough to the point where I don't think I got lungs. If I clipped lungs, even just one lung, he wouldn't have ran how he ran. Like, he would have died in front of us if I got any sort of lung damage. Bears, when it comes to bears, you hit them in the lungs, they're done. And usually they would have some kind of blood. But from just trying to track where we've seen them running, like, no blood, not even a speckle. So I absolutely hate this feeling. I thought I put the bullet in the right spot because he was quartering away, and so in my head I was like, if I'm gonna put it a little far back so that it exits properly, more towards its offset shoulder. It seems like I just must have put it just a tad too far back. That, or he just wasn't as quartering away as I thought. Nonetheless, no excuses for not making that shot count. 170 yards. Prone. Pretty disappointed with myself, but we're not going to give up yet. Nate's just kind of gritting on top here. I'm just came down here to glass down to the valley, just trying to sit and listen if I can hear death moan. It is just right at 4 o'clock, and Nate and I, we haven't found the bear. Not exactly sure how to do it yet, but we do have one final spot that we have in mind, which is the creek bottom. We wanted to cover the ridge tops first, and we've basically spent the afternoon gritting the ridge tops. So we know he's not on the ridge tops. At least we don't think he's on the ridge tops. It's evening now, so we might just go sit on this knob right here and glass back across to where that bear is and potentially find him through the glass. If we can do that tonight and eliminate all that ridge top, then that means that our best chance is down at the creek bottom, which is, if he's dead down there, the reason why we put it last, or at least I put it last, is because if he's dead down in the creek, the meat is less likely to spoil, versus if he's dead on the ridge and we went and found him and we went and gritted the creek first. If he's dead on the ridge where it's getting beaten by the sun, we're going to lose the meat. So hopefully he's down there if we can find him. If not, then all I can say is we gave it our best shot. So this is only like day number 3, and we still have 3-4 more days. So I hope you guys enjoyed the first part. I really wish that we'd be ending this first part with hands on a bear, but not the case. But that's how our hunt is going, and that's how I'm showing it to you guys. So better luck in part 2. We'll see.
You just have some drinking to do. I do. I'm gonna need it though.
when I'm really hydrated and I hike up, I feel like I don't need to drink as much. Dude, we gotta take advantage of this water, man.
Oh yeah.